in Insecurity in Tertiary Population and then The Birth of Biopolitics, these two lecture series, I mean, Foucault's doing two things. I mean, we can understand them, first of all, from the point of view of his own sort of intellectual trajectory. So he's sort of facing a lot of criticism at the time that he writes Discipline and Punish, that, well, Foucault, yes, he's very good at sort of understanding the microphysics of power, telling us in terms of the fine details of how prisons and schools and hospitals work, but he has nothing to say about, you know, political power in the sort of macro structural sense. He has nothing to tell us about states. And so Foucault, I think, is in part responding to these criticisms and saying, look, the kind of methods that I use, the methods of genealogy, the methods of breaking things down into the various elements that can constitute them, always in a very contingent way, these same methods can be taken and applied not just on the scale of a prison or a hospital or a port, but on the scale, at the level of a state as well. So he's basically saying that microphysics and genealogy as methods can be applied to states as well. And it's here that this sort of notion of the governmentalization of the state comes in, because I think Foucault's wanting to think about how we might write the history of the state from the outside, write the history of the state in a way that didn't sort of presume or presuppose that we already know what the state is, which is kind of how political theory has tended to do it. Foucault wants a sort of a history of the state that holds in suspension the sort of substance or essence of the state, and instead answers that question by attending to the sort of differing historical and political rationalities, but also the differing arts and techniques that have sort of been brought together in different kinds of combinations at different times and in different places to constitute something that we recognize today as the state. So it's a sort of history of the state told from the perspective of the different rationalities and the different arts and the different techniques that have been used to make something called the state in the first place.